Now more than ever, the pandemic has highlighted the importance of delivering a healthy and safe environment for educational facilities. And although delivering quality indoor air is clearly a challenge in current circumstances, minimizing the risk of shared pollutant exposure amongst the students and staff in these classrooms is critically important. After all, you are what you breathe.
If you look at where we're at today with the heightened awareness of how pollutants and germs and bad things are delivered, more so than ever is the public aware of HVAC systems. Helping people understand that the benefits of displacement ventilation integrated with bipolar ionization, those things can help deliver a healthier, safer environment for these kids as they continue to be in school or go back to school.
When we design learning environments, we have to take a holistic design approach because there are so many different components and so many different systems and variables that come into play. When we're talking about designing learning environments, we talk a lot about the technology, we talk a lot about the furniture, we talk a lot about all the different stuff you can see, the things you can touch and hold. The IAQ stuff doesn't oftentimes get talked about, and really that's undermining it because it is an essential component to a good learning environment.
If a teacher's uncomfortable, if a student's uncomfortable, that means that we're not going to be able to deliver that environment that's needed for student engagement and for delivery of curriculum. One of the things that we've found is that if the CO2 levels are at a certain level, the fresh air is at a certain level, that kids stay more engaged. We also look at how much noise is generated. The other part of that makes it a little bit more difficult is that we're also trying to be energy conscious.
Increasing the level of outside air and/or enhanced filtration are recommended actions, but how air is delivered to a room and exhausted out matters for the purposes of effectively purging the airborne pollutants. Consideration needs to be given to the entire HVAC system to ensure best ventilation design practices are incorporated.
How we deliver air to a room and how it moves through the room and how it exhausts matters. There are two predominant air distribution types in commercial buildings such as schools. The first one being a mixed air ventilation system. This is the most common type of ventilation system that you see in schools. Most people will equate it to air being delivered from the ceiling and being forced down into the room and pushing that air and creating a uniform environment. Displacement ventilation often delivers air low to the floor. As it comes in slow, it hits occupants. They have heat. They add heat and increase buoyancy, and that air comes up to their immediate breathing zone. But the benefit of displacement ventilation, particularly as it relates to removal of contaminants, is that that air continues upward and goes into the I don't care space and ultimately gets exhausted.
Sometimes with a diffuser type system coming down from the ceiling, you get hot or cold spots. We don't see that with displacement because it's evenly distributed across the floor, so you don't have any air blowing on a teacher's desk or on a student.
Mixed air ventilation has to deliver throughout the entire room volume. So you have to deliver more air or you have to deliver it cooler. Compare that with a displacement ventilation system. That does not have to treat the entire space. It only has to treat the area where the occupants are, up to roughly 76 inches above the floor. So if you only have to treat a portion of the space, you have to deliver less energy-based airflow.
Not all ventilation is created equal, but Carson Solutions has engineered the integration of bipolar ionization within its QLCI displacement ventilation cabinet. This diffuser proactively and continuously neutralizes the heavier droplets while displacement ventilation purges the lighter airborne pollutants from the occupied spaces. Spurred by their passion to improve the well-being of people and the occupied environments in which we all work and live, Carson Solutions' core value of nimble innovation helps deliver products that exceed industry standards, helping architects meet some of the physical and environmental aspects their clients demand, and creating healthy environments for classrooms and a wide variety of commercial spaces.
The passion behind what we're doing is actually caring about the equipment that we're putting in our schools and our community. The well-being of people, or whether it be children or the staff inside our schools, is probably the most important thing first.
It's been 15 years since we've been putting these systems in, and we know that we have been delivering a high ventilation effectiveness ever since we first installed these systems. But it wasn't until just recently that a lot of that early findings were, verified in this study that was done by Purdue University, which basically proved that the QLCI system has a higher ventilation effectiveness than traditional displacement systems.
Having induction displacement in a classroom really helps us create the best environment we can in that classroom space. Besides giving them a more energy efficient system, that also creates a better environmental quality and indoor air quality for the classroom and for the students.
The main feature I would say about displacement ventilation is being able to bring in a high quality outside air into the space, being able to properly disperse that air into the space at a low level inside the room, and being able to have it comfortable so people don't really know it's even happening. The true benefit of that is that we're not mixing the air. We're actually bringing that air in low. We're stratifying the air from the ground up and moving the air slowly up into the exhaust out of the room. So you're getting a high level of thermal comfort. That's also a great way to remove contaminants out of the space.
From a science perspective and from a design perspective, you guys have been fantastic on the systems that you put together. I think the one thing that I really appreciate as the end user is you listen. We've talked about things that we think would work better in a classroom, and the response has been amazing. Even when we talked about the lost storage, and you were able to put together some book storage, some shelving units, that I can't emphasize enough how nice it's been from an end user's perspective to hear a manufacturer actually say, what's bothering you and what can we do to help? And then listen.
To learn more about Carson Solutions and the QLCI, visit carsonsolutions.com.